Oh my god, so I am within moments of finishing book Bravey by Alexi Pappas. I feel like finishing a book is one of those feelings that are completely underrated. So it has been about a day since I finished Alexi Pappas's book Bravey. I think it's only appropriate to briefly introduce Alexi Pappas. If you don't know, she is a professional runner, performer, actor, writer, author, poet, and at this point she's literally a professional queen. Alexi Pappas plays an immense role in the running community and outside of it as well. Through creativity, relatability, wisdom, and kindness, Alexi Pappas has created this really unique kind of community within the running community. Thanks to Alexi, we refer to ourselves as Bravies. I'm not kidding. From tattoos to custom-made jewelry to custom watch faces, the term Bravey actually stems from one of the poems that Alexi once wrote, and she actually refers to it here in her book. Run like a bravey, sleep like a baby, dream like a crazy, replace can't with maybe. That poem right there, when she used the word Bravey, it just really stuck for herself and all of the runners, all of the people who look up to her. I literally get chills and I want to cry when I read that poem, just because for so long I've held on with such a tight grip and with all of my heart that term Bravey. It has gotten me through so many different times running and outside of running, and I know a lot of people agree with me. In her book, Alexi goes further into detail about what exactly a Bravey is, what it means to be a Bravey, but I want to spare some details here out of respect for Alexi, so I want you to find out what a Bravey is for yourself when you read the book. Diving into the book now a little bit more specifically, it is so crazy how little you can know about someone. Although I knew of Alexi, through her Instagram posts, through articles and podcasts, this book was next level stuff, and as an avid Bravey myself, I really appreciate it. I learned so much about Alexi that I never knew and I never really expected to know. But as I fiercely turned the pages to read what was next, I couldn't help but think what an amazing gift a role model can give us. The gift of more detail into their life, their lessons that they've learned, the struggles, the deeper secrets and desires that they've always had. The deeper stuff that we would never know if it weren't for a book like this. I also kept thinking what a fucking badass Alexi Pappas is, but that's nothing new. While gracefully telling readers about her life, Alexi talks about her mental health experiences, battles, losses, and wins. Now, although Alexi's life and upbringing is completely different than mine, in these 300 pages, she really creates a sense of vulnerability, sympathy, and empathy. Like, when I was reading it and now that I'm finished reading it, I really feel like Alexi is like my best friend, or like the older sister I never had. It's funny because she actually talks about mentorship in one of her chapters and how mentorship has really had an impact on her life. She sought out mentors and she talked about the female role models and mentors throughout her life that really helped shape who she is today. And when I was reading that, I couldn't help but think how kind of funny and a coincidence it was, and I wanted to reach out to her and be like, Alexi, you are also a mentor. I hope that she knows that she is a mentor for me and so many runners. Through Instagram posts, interviews, podcasts, movies, poems, and now a fucking book, Alexi is like the #1 role model that anyone could really have. There are some lessons that I pulled from this book that I really do want to talk about, and I think they're really important to address. One of the first things that I really pulled from it, you never know what someone is going through. Whether it's an internal battle that they're dealing with behind the scenes or a traumatic event that you never knew about. When you meet someone, or even when you have a small encounter, you never know how someone is truly feeling on the inside. So this was just an amazing reminder to just always be kind and be genuine and to approach people, considering all variables. I kind of just mentioned this, but Alexi talked a lot about mentorships and mentors. And when I was reading it, I kind of made me think about, who has served as a mentor in my life, whether they knew it or not, or who could be somebody that I could seek out now to serve as a mentor. And I also thought, who can I be a mentor for? And have I ever really served as that sort of role model for someone? It kind of just makes you think, reminds you of the impact that you can have on somebody and the impact that someone can have on you. Next lesson that I pulled from reading Bravey is that you make your own rules. And she has a whole chapter kind of specifically on this. But basically, you make your own rules in your life and you have permission to change those rules whenever you want and let them change and grow with you as you go throughout your life. You have permission to say yes, but you also have permission to say no. You have permission to completely change the rules that was so deeply embedded in your mind and your heart for so long that maybe changes as you grow older and as you mature. It's up to you. It's your life. Alexi talks about the power of imagination and the power of belief in oneself. Alexi teaches us readers and us Bravies how to chase dreams and not just be interested in them. After all, that's what Bravies do. We chase dreams, and Alexi shows us how. Through Alexi's mental health journey throughout her life, she reminds and encourages readers to really take care of themselves and to put themselves first, especially when it comes to something as important as your mental health. This is like one of my favorite metaphors to think of as mental health, and she talks about this in her book. She's talked about it before, but to think about your brain like it's a muscle, and just like your muscle can get injured, your brain can be injured as well, and you want to rehab it the exact same way that you would treat an injured muscle to get healthy as soon as possible. Your brain and your mind and your mental health, it needs nurturing, it needs care, it needs strength. Alexi taught me in this book to really lean into the potential that I feel and to lean into it with optimism and to be my own visionary of my potential and my dreams. Alexi reminds readers that you are your own hero, and through lessons and mistakes and relationships and failures and successes, it is so important to love yourself and to love yourself fiercely. It's so important to accept your body and the way it changes, and accept your body and cherish what it does for you and enables you to do every single day. Honestly, I could go on and on talking about this book and the lessons that I can pull from it every single day when I need inspiration or just in general. From Alexi's vulnerability and raw emotion, talking about her upbringing and her different experiences throughout life as a runner and as a human being and as strong as a woman. I could just go on and on, but it's something that you need to experience for yourself and read Bravey, read these 300 pages and just feel everything that Alexi put into these pages here. Alexi is amazing because she creates connection, and she creates connection through so many different mediums I've mentioned: poems, captions, articles, movies, and now books. She keeps that connection so alive and real, and that's why she's just so incredibly relatable, and she makes you feel like she's your best friend. Before I end this video, I want to thank Alexi. Alexi, if you ever see this for some reason, thank you. Thank you for being you, for being a light in this world. Thank you for helping and supporting me through some pretty tough times. Even throughout all of the good times, Alexi was always there, whether it was my Bravey bracelet or, you know, Alexi's personalized Bravey watch face. Alexi's wisdom was everywhere, and I would write down quotes on my hand, write Bravey on my arm, and just her support, it really does inspire you to keep going. Thank you, Alexi, for being unapologetically yourself. Thank you for being so vulnerable and relatable and for sharing your story. Thank you for opening up the dialogue about controversial topics in the running community. This is something that I am so passionate about, and it's so refreshing to see someone who is as talented and experienced as Alexi in running and outside of running, who talks about the things that need to be talked about within the running culture. And I'm really passionate about ending the eating disorder culture in female distance running more specifically, but also in male distance running as well. And Alexi loves to talk about, and in her book, it was one of my favorite parts, page 68, I remember that specifically, when she talks about health and sustainability within distance running and in the sport, and how the female bodies and the way we change and go through puberty is something that isn't talked about enough or dealt with appropriately in the NCAA and outside the NCAA. Like, I'm so fortunate that as I've come up as a runner and a young woman, that I was able to grow with Alexi here as a Bravey, because she has always preached what needed to be preached at the right times, and her advice and wisdom is the right kind of advice and wisdom as a young girl who is growing up in this world, in the running community. Alexi, thank you. Thank you for showing us what it's like to chase your dreams, and thank you for showing us what a Bravey really is. If you read this book, let me know in the comments below your thoughts, your feelings, your favorite quotes, your favorite pages, what you loved about Bravey. And if you haven't read it yet, I seriously recommend it. Anyone can always benefit from someone's vulnerability. We can learn from them and grow with them as well. If you made this far, as always, thank you so much for watching. I would love for you to click that like button and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you in my next video, but until then, go read Bravey and happy running.